Hey Lions fans! Today's news is crazy, and it's no wonder after everything that's been happening. We have rumors about pressure on the Lions front office. Is it time for Holmes and Campbell to leave the team? And that's not all. A Detroit Lions star and Super Bowl champion shocks everyone by announcing his retirement. And the craziest part? The Lions are releasing a veteran offensive lineman. And the first piece of news, let's start by talking about the situation in the front office. Alright, let's talk about the headline everybody in Detroit wishes they didn't have to hear. Are Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell actually on the hot seat? On paper it sounds crazy, right? Both guys signed extensions through 2027. Ownership literally called them the driving force behind the rebuild. 4 straight winning seasons, something Lions fans barely knew existed. And yet, here we are, asking whether the seat's getting warm. And honestly, it kind of is. Not because Sheila Hamp is suddenly impatient or ready to blow things up. She's not. It's because Detroit hit that stage of the journey where good doesn't feel good anymore. The Lions built expectations, they created belief, and then the last 2 seasons showed everyone how far the gap still is between being competitive and actually winning when it counts. 2 years, 0 playoff wins. That's the kind of stat that starts making noise. Holmes and Campbell didn't run from it either. They flat out gave themselves failing grades. Holmes even joked about whether it should be an F or a D-, but the message was clear. If we're not playing for a championship right now, that's a fail. Campbell echoed the same thing. No excuses, no sugarcoating. That honesty is admirable, but it also tells you how frustrated the building is. The season was supposed to be the step forward. Instead, it tripped over its own shoelaces. The offense couldn't string wins together, the O-line took a step back, the injury bug chewed through the defense, and the coaching decisions, especially those aggressive 4th down calls, didn't hit the way they used to. Campbell's been praised forever for his guts, but when the numbers tank and the line can't block, take the points suddenly stops sounding like cowardice and starts sounding like common sense. Holmes has hit some home runs in the draft since 2021, no doubt, but the last couple of classes just haven't provided the depth Detroit desperately needed. Free agency, trade deadline, quiet, too quiet. Being cautious is fine until cautious becomes the reason you fall behind. And here's the real twist. Fans aren't blindly loyal anymore. The diehard trust the process no matter what crowd is getting smaller. People are questioning decisions. People are noticing regression. People are realizing that the Lions aren't just trying to be better than their past selves. They're trying to climb into the league's top tier, and that demands a different level of urgency. Holmes and Campbell aren't getting fired, not now, and probably not anytime soon. They've earned security, they've earned respect. But next season, if things go sideways again, if Detroit drops another almost year, that seat won't just be warm, it'll be scorching. Right now, the message around the league is simple. Detroit's leadership is safe, but the patience around them is shrinking fast. And for the first time in this era, the fan base isn't looking at the future through blue and silver tinted glasses. They want results. They want playoff wins. They want the promises delivered, not repeated. And while all that noise was heating up the building, something else dropped out of nowhere. And this one hit Lions fans right in the chest. Detroit got rocked by another curveball. Offensive tackle Dan Skipper officially announced his retirement after 9 seasons in the NFL. And if you have followed this team even a little, you know this wasn't just another roster move. Skipper was one of those dudes who never complained, never backed down, and somehow managed to be both a journeyman and a fan favorite at the same time. The guy's been battling a serious back injury, and he hinted last year that 2024 might be his final run. Turns out he wasn't kidding. Instead of pushing his body any further, he's calling it hanging up the pads and stepping straight into coaching. He's already set to volunteer as an offensive line coach at the East-West Shrine Bowl, because of course he is. Skipper's always been a team-first dude, even after stepping away from playing. And let's not forget, this dude's journey is wild. Broncos, Patriots, Texans, Raiders, Colts. He bounced around the league like a rental car and still somehow played 66 of his 69 games as a Lion. Detroit was the only place that really stuck with him, and he stuck right back. For 3 straight seasons, he was part of this locker room, this rebuild, this mentality shift. And yeah, people joke about it all the time. but it's still crazy. He was the tallest active player in the NFL last season, 6'9", a skyscraper and shoulder pads. Detroit found creative ways to use him too. Ben Johnson, back when he was running the Lions offense, actually schemed plays where Skipper reported eligible and motioned out wide like a massive tight end, and he even pulled it off. 2 catches, 13 yards, and a touchdown. Not bad for a man built like a refrigerator with legs. Oh, and he's got a ring. People forget that. He won a Super Bowl with the Patriots in 2018 while on the practice squad. Say what you want, a ring is a ring, and it's something he'll carry into the next chapter of his football life. What really hits the fan base, though, is the timing. First, Frank Ragnow retires after 2024. Then he tries to make a comeback this season, but fails the physical. Now Skipper calls it quits. Detroit's offensive line, once a stable, elite unit, is losing pieces left and right. That changes the chemistry, that changes the identity, and it raises questions heading into 2026 that nobody wanted to be asking. Skipper leaves with nothing but respect behind him. In his own words, 24 years of putting on pads and a helmet every fall. This year, I'll trade that out to pursue coaching. He thanked everyone who helped him along the way and even squeezed in one last dad joke. It's time for me to report as retired. Classic Skipper. Detroit's locker room just lost a voice, a tone setter, a guy who showed up every week ready to swing even when he wasn't supposed to star. And as the Lions fire another coach and the roster starts shifting again, this retirement becomes another reminder. The old foundation is changing, and some of the pieces fans relied on for stability aren't going to be part of what comes next. And just when fans were trying to process all that, another bombshell prediction popped up, one that touches one of the longest tenured Lions on the roster. So here's the next headline shaking things up. ESPN dropped a bold prediction saying the Lions could straight up cut veteran left tackle Taylor Decker unless he retires first. And look, that's not some random depth piece. That's the anchor of Detroit's line for nearly a decade. When that kind of name gets mentioned in a cut candidates list, you feel it. The reasoning? It actually makes sense, even if it stings. Decker's going to be 33 next season, and his body has taken a beating. Shoulder issues have piled up, and the 2025 numbers weren't kind. Out of 69 ranked tackles, he finished 45th in pass block win rate and 61st in run block win rate. Those aren't franchise left tackle numbers, especially when your team is trying to break into the top tier of the league. But here's where it gets even trickier. Decker himself has openly talked about retirement. He's not sure how much longer his body is gonna let him do this. And Dan Campbell, speaking about it, was basically like, yeah, we hear him. And we've learned from the Ragnow situation. In other words, if Decker walks away, the Lions won't be blindsided this time. Campbell said Decker is meeting with him and GM Brad Holmes today or tomorrow, but he also emphasized this isn't going to be a quick decision. When you've played as long as Decker, especially at a position that demands violence every snap, you need time to figure out if you've got another year left, and the Lions are prepared to wait. The bigger storyline, though, is this. Detroit's offensive line, once the pride of the team, is entering transition mode whether the fans like it or not. Ragnow retired, Skipper retired, Decker is at a crossroads. And if the Lions do move on from him, it's not just a salary cap decision, it's a symbol of an era ending. Campbell didn't hide the frustration he felt about the 2025 season either. He gave himself an F, literally said the team fell short because of its own mistakes. And now, he's talking about bringing in competition everywhere, resetting the hunger, getting back to the version of the Lions that punched people in the mouth instead of backing up. His message was loud and clear. We're not far off, we just need guys who are hungry. We're going after it this offseason. That's why this Decker situation matters so much. It's not just about one player, it's about the Lions deciding who's part of the next chapter and who isn't. A big change might be coming, and this time, Detroit isn't pretending otherwise. Detroit's at a crossroads. Pressure on the staff, vets walking away, and big decisions coming fast. The next move could shape the whole 2026 season. What do you think the Lions should do? Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss what happens next.